For today's final reading lesson of the week, which focuses on an objective, we are going to be continuing with the objective to draw inferences such as characters' feelings, thoughts and motives from their actions and justifying inference with evidence. So that will be today's lesson, and we are once again focusing on the skill of inference. Now, because we focused on inference all week, what I would really like you to do is to make a little mind map, only a few things on it, but what is inference, what do you need to do, and how does it help us to be a good reader? We've been looking at this book all week, The Rain Player, and we've just been taking extracts from it. What genre of text is this? Now we should all know it's a Mayan myth, so there is a message and a moral to the story. So something is going to happen and we're going to learn something from the story. So thinking about, could you just make some bullet points or do some research about what you would expect a myth to include? This lesson, we're going to be focusing on answering those questions more directly. Now, we've been doing the See, Think, Wonder charts, and we're going to take a step away from those today. We're going to look at how an inference question would look like in a SATs paper, or as you get older to year 11, what inference looks like in a question. So I'm going to have a little look at this picture here. And if someone looked outside and the sky was like this, what could we infer about the weather that day? So having a look at that picture, just note down what you notice. This is where your see comes in, and what that makes you think. So I think, from looking at this, I think it would be a stormy or a rainy day. And the evidence that I have to justify our answer there is that if I look at that sky, it's a full sky, it's dark clouds, and it's of grey colour. So there, I've used inference. It hasn't told me that it's a storm. I've used inference to look at the clues in the image and to decide that I think the weather that day will be rainy or a storm. So now we're going to move across from inferring from pictures to inferring from a text, and we're going to really focus on character immersion. Now, we know from using things in our writing like show, not tell sentences that we want our reader to see how the character feels rather than say the character felt sad. We can do things such as the character sobbed. We know the character is feeling emotional there because of what's being said, not that it just says they are sad or they are crying. So in this quote, how is Chak the god feeling? The voice of Chak rumbled like thunder. Just take a moment and note down what emotions you think that he's feeling, this god Chak, and why. And then press the next sound button and we'll have a discussion about what you've put there. So for me, I think that Chak is feeling angry. And the reason I think that is because of the words rumbled and like thunder. The words thunder imply to me that it's loud and noisy, and usually when people are quite angry, they shout and raise their voice, and rumbled makes it sound like a really deep noise. And often when people are angry again, their voice becomes lower. On the next slide, you'll see how to answer a question in that style. So here you can see that I've answered the question. So the question is, how is the god Chak feeling about pick from the quote, the voice of Chak rumbled like thunder? So here there will be 2 marks. One would be for the point, and the point is when you answer the question. The next would be for the evidence. So have a read through that and then we'll go through it on the next page. So going back to the question, how is the god Chak feeling about pick from the quote, the voice of Chak rumbled like thunder? I'm going to answer with my point first. That will get me 1 mark. So I need to answer the question directly. So I think that Chak is feeling angry with Pike. There I know that I've answered and made a point because I've put down the emotions of Chak. Now, the next bit is the justifying my answers with evidence, and the evidence comes directly from the text. So here I've put, I got this impression from the text as it described his voice as being like thunder. This makes me think that he's shouting as thunder is loud. So my evidence is the words like thunder, and I've explained that further by saying how thunder makes me think that it is loud. This is the final task now for you today in this reading lesson. There are 2 sets of questions. So you're going to have questions just like the one before where you have a quote. You're going to look at the quote and answer the questions using point and evidence. You need to answer the question with your point and then find evidence in the text to justify the point that you have made. So you're going to complete the question sheet. There are actually 2 levels of questions. So if you are wanting a challenge, Group 2 will be the challenging questions. The Group 1 questions are just there for you to answer. So Group 1 is the first level and Group 2 are the second level. Pick your challenge, choose an appropriate one for your ability, and then you can have a go applying your inference skills for the end of this week.